What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today I'm going to be doing my full review of the Sharp by Design Mini Evo. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so what we're going to be doing today is some size comparisons, and then we'll go ahead and jump into my thoughts and impression on the Mini Evo, which is a really cool knife. I do like this one. Spoiler warning. First up, we're going to bring out the Elementum 2 button lock from Civivi. As you can see, this is just a little bit bigger than the Elementum 2 button lock. We'll go ahead and bring out the Civivi Praxis, and as you can see, it is smaller than the Praxis, so in between size. This one here is like a medium knife. I wouldn't quite call it a medium. I think it's more of a medium knife where it's just a little bit bigger than a small knife in my opinion. Let's go ahead and bring out a couple more comparison knives. We'll bring it out here against the Bug Out, which the Bug Out is going to be about the same size, and we'll bring it out against the ProTech Mordax. And as you can see, it is smaller than the Mordax. And then from pivot to pivot, just a touch smaller and like barely smaller than the Bug Out as far as the length goes. Let's go ahead and move the Mordax out of the way. We'll go ahead and bring out my Shaman. I don't know what's going on with the Shaman here today. I'm not sure if it's me, but the action on it is feeling a little iffy today, so maybe it's time to take her apart and clean her up. But as I was going to say, it is smaller than the Shaman overall, and then we'll go ahead and bring out the AD 20.5, which is going to be the same length overall. And then from pivot to pivot, it's going to be a little bit shorter on the handle and a little bit longer on the blade. Overall, same length, but the real estate is made up differently. Let's go ahead and do some thickness profile comparisons so we can get an idea of how this is going to carry in hand and how it's going to carry in pocket. As I clank the two together, as you can see, due to the contouring of the Evo, it's a little bit chunkier than the AD 20.5. I imagine this will be a little harder to do it against the Bug Out. Yeah, just a touch thicker than the Bug Out, and then we'll go ahead and bring out the Elementum 2 button lock, and it should be thinner. Just slightly thinner. At least at this angle, it looked like it. Sorry, I got to move these out of the way. Let's go ahead and jump into my thoughts and impressions of the Mini Evo. I really do think this ergonomically is surprisingly comfortable, and I think it has to do with the fact that it has those contoured scales on here. That actually helps by having it being a chunky knife because it doesn't go very far up into the hand. As you can see, it rests right on the last knuckle and it just barely goes anywhere on the palm. But in all honesty and in fairness, I'm not carrying this knife as an EDC knife similar to how I carry my AD 20.5 or my Bug Out. This is going to be more of I'm going into the office, going out with the wife. That is how I am carrying this knife, just something to have on me to meet my cutting needs for whenever I need it. The contouring on here is nice. The milling and chamfering, everything on here makes this feel very comfortable in hand. The only spot that I feel is just where he has the lock bar insert elevated or raised so that you can catch it when you go to close it. I feel that a little bit in the finger, but it's still honestly knocked down so well that I can just tell that it's there. It's not sharp. It's not a hot spot. It's not even a nitpick. It's just something that I noticed. The other thing too that I wish, it's pretty thick out here on the tip, and I actually kind of wish that he would take a little bit more material away on the inside, because every once in a while, if I'm carrying it wearing jeans or something like that on a day into the office, it kind of will catch. So you have to hit it just right, or you have to pull the pants pocket tight to get it to go into the pocket. Carries nice and deep. I went ahead and anodized the lock bar insert screw and the pocket clip screw, that purple, to kind of accent the purple haze, leaving the pivot alone and leaving the pocket clip alone. I think that is enough of a tasteful accent for my personal life to where I like that. It doesn't come like that. I've had people ask me where I got the screws. I did that myself. Now, you can see that I am reverse flicking this, but this is a flipper only knife. It is only meant to be open with the flip, and with that detent nub, it sounds really good. Very crisp on the opening. Now, if I take my finger in where it has the deepest cut, and then I kind of dig it in, I can flip it, as I failed to demonstrate that. I can flip it, but I kind of have to dig in like I'm trying to dig down into it. What that ends up doing, I have found, at least I think, is I'm starting to pull the knife out a little bit, and then I catch on enough skin if I do it quickly to where I can get it out. If I try to go slow to demonstrate it, I can't do it. But as you can see, if I go quickly, I can get it very consistently. The other thing that I'll mention here is if you miss enough times trying to do that, it is going to start to feel sore there unless you start to build up a callus. But I think if you do that, you don't have enough soft skin to be able to do that consistently. Now, as far as the flipper tab goes, it does prevent you from choking up, but in all honesty, I'm not using this knife to break down my boxes. I'm carrying this into the office. I'm opening some packages. I'm opening some mail. I'm cutting string. I might be cutting something that has like a zip tie or something that is holding packages together, rope, things of that nature on packages that I'm trying to get into, but I'm not grabbing this knife to go and break down boxes. Not for me, not in my inventory. If you want one and a done knife and you don't really care about fidget factor a whole lot, meaning that you truly are supposed to have one dedicated mean of deployment with this one, this is a great knife. It is going to cover a lot of your needs. You're going to be able to EDC this. You're going to be able to do a lot of your cutting tasks with this. It has a nice thin geometry on it. It has a very thin flat grind. It has a beautiful side to side done on this one. I don't think it is hand done. It doesn't look like it anyway. I think it's just belt satin side to side for the finish on here. You do have like a stone wash finish that looks like it was done first to capture the fuller, and then I think they went through and finished it off with the belt, and it's just really, really, really clean. The jimping on here is nice. It's not too aggressive. You definitely get a nice grip off of there, and then it is finished with no sharp edges all the way out to the tip, and it is very pokey. I like this one a lot. One of the main reasons that I wanted to pick this knife up is because of how much I love my Mini Tempest. My Mini Tempest is my favorite of the two. I really like it. It's a little bit longer, both in handle and in blade. For me, that's nice because it fits my hands a little bit nicer too. It's a little bit chunkier as well, which is something that I also really like. And this one's more broken in, as you can see. It's already falling shut. One thing that I will say though, while it does have a good tune for that front flipper, I think I need to take it apart probably here in the next couple days and just clean around the detent nub. It feels like it might be gummed up a little bit because it doesn't feel as crisp as it did on the reverse flick when I got it. Now, if I'm holding it left-handed and I'm pushing into the nub, it does feel much more crisp. You can hear the brake actually. Did you hear that? So I think it probably just needs to be cleaned for the detent nub versus tuned. I don't think it really needs to be tuned. But that was the driver behind this, is I felt like React did a great job. Seamless transitions. Like I almost can't feel a difference in the material type. I can a little bit, but it feels really smooth on the transitions where it makes contact. Now, of course, you can feel it here because it's, you know, closed. But if you have the knife partially closed and you go to feel it, maybe a little bit right here. Because when you go to let it go into the close into the detent nub, the lock bar comes in a little bit and then you can feel it again. But everywhere else feels really smooth. The transitions are awesome. The build on this is phenomenal. I really like this one a lot. I even like the way and I can't believe I'm saying this because I usually don't like something that protrudes out from the knife. I think it takes away from the clean lines, but I actually like the way that he styled that flipper tab. So when it comes down, it makes a statement in itself, right? It's not just this random flipper tab on a knife that is like just kind of sticking out, this big chunk of metal that just kind of sticks out straight down, looks like a kickstand. It actually has some personality to it, which I really like about this knife. I really do think it's very, very cool. Now, when the Mini Tempest came out, I think these were probably for the fancy version. I want to say these were around 400, 390 or so. So there is a little bit of inflation that's happening right now, and it is driving the price of some knives up. I think the recently released, at the time of recording, Chavez 229 Kickstop, $410. I know it's bigger. I know there's more material there that's happening because it is bigger than the Street. I know that. But that's a lot of money. And this one coming in at $425. Whew. That's a lot. That is a lot. And I think that has to do with inflation. I don't feel like there's any greed going on there because it is only like, it feels like it's only a slight bump from the Mini Tempest. And I could be wrong because the Mini Tempest came out last year. So I'm trying to go from memory and I'm not 100% sure, but it is a little bit of a price hike. But saying that, you can get the micarta variant, which is the cheapest variant, which still looks really good. And it has all the pluses that I mentioned here, for less. And I cannot believe that they were still in stock, but I hope these sell well because Brian Nadeau has really good styling cues. And it may have been cheaper to buy it directly for him, but it was too much for him to handle, because the volume was so much, and then the returns and any type of defects or anything that happened from the factory is a lot for him to deal with on his own. It's easier to deal with the vendors and the merchants. But I don't know. I don't know what I could offer as a suggestion to bring the cost down. I think the only thing I'd like to see is I would like these to be a little bit bigger. You know, some people are not going to agree with me, and it could be because I have the larger hands that I wished that it was a little bit bigger. But even if it could just come to be the size of the Tempest, because you can see the Tempest has more blade length. Oops, I bumped it. And it has more handle length on it. And that's the way it's styled, right? But if you could elongate this to be, I don't know, what is it now? Let's bring this over here and see. What are they coming in at? So they're coming in at 7.5. So maybe if we could do 7 3/4, right? Let's not go all the way to 8. Let's go to 7 3/4. Let's see what the Tempest is. Tempest is coming in at 7 3/4. So there you go. So there you go. Make the Evo 7 3/4. And for me, it'd be the perfect size. And I don't know if that helps justify the price or not. Sorry, I'm making a ton of racket putting that back. Overall though, it's a very, very good knife. There's stuff that's going on here that does help justify the price, because you do have to order this material and send it to the manufacturer. I do not think that they're bringing these in-house. They're not making it in-house, right? It's sourced externally, which is going to drive up the cost a little bit. There's more chamfering and milling. Even when you get to the pivot, it's ramping up into the pivot. There's stuff that's going on here that's just a little bit fancier than what you're seeing on most of your knives that are coming out of Riyadh, and they're doing a great job. Anyway, that is my full review of the Mini Evo. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Shout out to those that leave likes, comments, and are subscribed. I appreciate the love and support. I hope all of you have a fantastic week, and until next time, peace.